Hello, my name's Jo Barraket and I'm the Director of Melbourne Social Equity Institute at the University of Melbourne here in Australia, and I'm the co-founder of Seedkit. We've been asked today to provide some reflections on the benefits and challenges of impact measurement for social enterprises, based particularly on our experience of building Seedkit. So first, a quick run through of Seedkit and its purpose. In a nutshell, it's an online learning and user platform to support social enterprises track and communicate their social outcomes and impacts. Its genesis was in action research that I led way back in 2012, and we've built on that learning over time, typically in processes of co-design with social enterprises. The minimum lovable product that is Seedkit was launched in November 2023, and it was based on a 12-month co-design process with more than 30 social enterprises, which was funded by the state government of Victoria here in Australia. This is just an indication of some of the social enterprises that were involved in this process. Since its launch, Seedkit has had about 230 organisations registered to use it. Most of these are in Australia, but some are in other countries, including in yours. And the Seedkit team has been busy debugging the system since it was launched. We're now looking at users' experiences to see whether and how the promise of Seedkit can truly be realised. Seedkit has three major functions. First of all, it's an online tool which includes a bespoke indicators library and capacity for users to create their own indicators and to document and track their social impacts over time. Second, it's a learning platform reflecting that we are academics and educators, and it contains resources to support users to develop their skills in outcomes and impact measurement. Third, we hope that if enough social enterprises actually use Seedkit, then it will support the aggregation of insights about the characteristics and effects of social enterprises, which can be reflected back to the field, as well as to governments, the public, and to funders. One of the things that I've done through my career is a lot of the national and state-based mapping of social enterprise in Australia. And one of my hopes for Seedkit is that if it's really useful to social enterprises, we'll never have to survey the sector again, and we'll be able to find out the information that we need to do that macro level analysis without asking people to fill out more and more surveys. So that's a lightning fast overview of Seedkit. If you want to find out more, you can go to the platform and have a look. It's not for profit and it's free to use. And now, more importantly, some reflections on the challenges and benefits, not only of building a platform, but of the particular issues related to outcomes, measurement and communication by social enterprises. The first one that I wanted to reflect on is the balance between rigour and reality. We know that social enterprises are typically extremely busy organisations seeking to serve at-need communities and people and environmental issues, often working with relatively sparse resources. And it is really important that there is a level of pragmatism and realism associated with what's expected from social enterprises in their outcomes measurement and communications. The flip side, though, is that it is really important when we do this kind of work that there are basic principles of rigour. And that includes things like transparency, being able to show how you've determined a particular outcome. And other issues, really importantly, are being able to communicate where a contribution has been made as distinct from attributing the whole of a particular outcome to a specific social enterprise or a specific program. And that balance between rigour and reality sometimes involves the need for independent research and evaluation. And with Seedkit, it's meant to be a self-managed user tool. But one of the things we think of in relation to what can be done with that material is that by keeping good records over time, individual users are then creating effectively a data set that can then be looked at by independent evaluators and impact assessors if needed. The next one is finding a balance between diversity of the field and standardisation of measures. And I don't think we've cracked this yet, but one of the things about Seedkit is we deliberately made the indicators bank very broad because we're conscious, at least in the Australian context, that social enterprises operate in every single part of our economy, that they serve a huge diversity of social and environmental purposes, and they are often incorporated under different legal structures, as well as having other forms of diversity. So we really wanted to make the tool usable for the whole of the field. That said, there's a very clear push and need for standardisation by policymakers who are making sense of the policy strategies and investments that they're making in the field, by philanthropic funders, sometimes by the communities that particular social enterprises serve. And also we found from social enterprises themselves that they're interested in being able to see some standardisation so that they can benchmark their own practices against the practices of like organisations over time. Another reflection is about the distinction between having impact and shifting systems. One of the things that we heard when doing the co-design of Seedkit from particularly mature social enterprises was a strong interest in being able to move beyond measuring the impacts of their own organisation towards models of outcomes measurement and communication that focus on the networks and collaborations through which systems change may occur. And we haven't cracked that nut yet, but I think that it is an important issue to observe, that social enterprises typically don't solve complex social problems alone, and that increasingly we need to be literate in outcomes measurement activities that reflect that in complex adaptive systems, change doesn't usually happen through one organisation or one program. The next thing that I wanted to touch on as a reflection is that one of the things we hear a lot in Australia is the mantra that social enterprises are not very good at measuring and communicating their social outcomes and they need help. Now, obviously, there's some truth to that, or we wouldn't have bothered building Seedkit, but I want to reflect on the fact that across the board, I would say capability and maturity around outcomes measurement communication in the context I work in is pretty low. And it is really important if there's going to be increasing outcomes-based and impact-based funding and other demands placed upon social enterprises and other for-purpose organisations, then to be honest, funders, investors, policymakers also need to be building their capability in this area. It is not simply the issue of social enterprises alone. And also to reflect that technology alone is no solution, which we were conscious of when we went into building Seedkit. One of the things that we found is that Seedkit has been created through a relational activity of co-design, and social enterprises are typically highly relational organisations. It's super important that they connect with each other and that there's peer learning and other forms of connection and capability building that occurs through talking with each other, visiting each other, sharing experiences and so on. And technology won't always solve those things. But that said, where technology is being used, it really needs to be user-centred. One of the reasons that we built Seedkit is because there are some products that are available that do some of the things Seedkit does. But first of all, they're not free, and that makes them often not affordable for small organisations. But also they're typically built either based on assumptions that are being made by designers who don't know users, or they're being built by funders who have their own centric position in the process. And we really recognise that in the work that we've done, that if we're going to use technology to do this work well, it really needs to understand users. And Seedkit's only just getting to that stage. We have to do a lot more user testing and really understand the needs of organisations that are using the platform in order to get it right. And then finally, just making a reflection that technology can be a really interesting boundary object for learning. So one of the things that we've noticed with Seedkit is that quite a lot of organisations have approached us about developing a community of practice where they use Seedkit, but it's not all about training them in Seedkit. It's actually using Seedkit as the means by which they talk with each other to do that sort of peer-based capacity building that I talked about before. So we're really conscious that Seedkit's got a long way to go, and we are hopeful, subject to further investment, that we'll be able to make some of those additions to make the platform super useful. But regardless, we've learnt a huge amount, and I hope that social enterprises involved in both designing and trialling the platform have learnt a fair bit about their own needs and their own approaches to outcomes measurement as part of this work. Thanks for your time and good luck with the rest of your session today.